Hi, Chuck Quinton, founder of RotarySwing.com here. I want to talk about a really important concept that you've heard a million times, but probably still to this day, no matter how hard you've tried, no matter what else you've done to try and drill this into your swing, you haven't been able to do it, and that is starting your downswing from the ground up. How many times have we heard that? Jack Nicklaus, everybody under the sun, start the swing from the ground up, use your legs for power, yet nearly every amateur golfer that I teach starts their swing from the top up, or top down. Why is that? Well, it's a really simple yet really important concept, and it's going to have to help you understand why it is that you can't do this and what it's going to take to be able to do it. So let's take a look at what causes you to start from the top down instead of the bottom up. The reason is that your body is going to use tension as its primary indicator of what muscles to fire in what order or sequence. And the body is really clever in that it listens to you when you tell it what it is you want it to do. We're just usually giving it the wrong information. And that wrong information is tension typically in the upper body or the shoulders. This area we refer to sometimes as the rectangle. You want to swing more from your core from this top of the downswing, and you know that, but no matter what you try, you still can't do it. It's because you're giving your body the wrong signals. When you go to the top of your swing, stop and see which muscles are the tightest in your body. What you'll probably find in most instances, it's going to be these muscles up here in your shoulders and arms. So of course, what you're telling your body is, hey, these muscles are really tight. What does your muscle want to do when it has a lot of tension in it? It wants to release the tension, of course. So what you've got to do is start telling your body the right signals. But before we do that, let's look at what is typically the wrong signals to send to your body. The wrong signal is when you first start the club going back and you take this lead arm, we're going to refer to as pushing, and you start pushing this across your body, instantly I feel tension in the upper part of my back, in the rear delt, and my shoulder here. As I've done this, I've now gone where I've moved my arms and club a long ways, but my body hasn't really turned much. I haven't created any healthy tension or load in my trunk, my core, the area we call sometimes the box, and that's this area from here to here basically. So instead I'm loading up my shoulders, and so by the time I get here I'm so tight that guess what my body wants to do? It's got to get rid of this tension in my shoulders. Of course it does. So as you're doing this, if you don't start using your body to load these muscles up and turn, your shoulders are going to get loaded long before the big muscles do. And so by the time you get here, you've got to fire from the top, and your body, instead of using your legs to be able to shift your weight and so on and so forth in the downswing that you know are good things you want to do, your body just kind of freezes to try and keep you from falling on your face because you're creating all this force going out away from you, and all of a sudden you've got a bad golf swing. How do we fix it? That's the key. So, the most important part of learning RST, or any golf swing for that matter, is learning how to load your body first and use your body to swing from the inside out to move the club correctly. So, here's how we do that. First, throw the club down. You don't need it anymore. You need to learn how to use your body first. It has nothing to do with that golf club. Take your arms across your shoulders, and the first thing I want you to do, lift your right heel up in the air and plant it on the ground, and as you do that, push it into the ground and let your upper body turn and rotate on this hip. I want you to load and create tension. I feel a lot of load in my quad, my hamstring, and primarily my right glute. And as I'm doing that, I'm going to keep the flex in my knee. It's okay for it to straighten up a little bit, but what I see all the time is people swinging with their arms and their right leg straightens up, and all of a sudden they've got this move going on. So as you go back, lift your right heel up. The right heel gives you something to focus on pushing it into the ground, which gives you a little mental cue to load that right glute. So as I lift it up, push it into the ground, and now all of a sudden I feel loaded and powerful as if I could move and jump that way. Now granted, we don't want to push that hard off the right leg, but it's okay to use it. But the primary thing we're trying to do is get load and stability in there so that we can have a powerful move coming down. So as we do this, right heel up, plant it in the ground, turn. Now my shoulder completely relaxed. It can hang out here all day. But I've still made a full shoulder turn. My right leg is loaded up, and my trunk, importantly, my core, is now really loaded up. So guess what's going to want to fire first? Not my shoulders, because they're relaxed. So I'm loaded up here, my My abs, my core, my obliques are loaded. Now the first thing I'm going to do is what? Well, you know this. You need to shift your weight back to the left. How do I do that? Again, give yourself a little help, give yourself a little mental cue. Lift your left heel up now and stomp it into the ground. Now as I do this, and when I say stomp it, I mean I want to hear it. Stomp it, because now as soon as you do that, the muscles in the left side that you need to use to post up on and drive up to rotate your hips are going to be activated. So lift the left heel, stomp it into the ground. Now, as I'm doing that, I'm also using my leg to push my hips back out of the way to get my shoulders squared up into impact from down the line. So now I'm going to lift my right heel, stomp it, load it up, shoulders are relaxed. Now I'm going to lift my left heel, stomp it, post up, and now you'll see my shoulders are at impact. I didn't move my shoulders. In fact, my shoulders have been chilled out and relaxed this entire time. Right leg, left leg. Now I'm in a great impact position, and all these big muscles, these big, thick, dense muscles in my hips, my core, my quads, my hamstrings, have done all of the heavy lifting to move my arms and shoulders into impact without me having to use my arms and hands to get into hitting area. So focus on getting your core rotation first, then worry about what the club and arms are going to do in the swing.